Mo, about this Alabama team and what's it going to take to win?
Well, it's obviously a great team. Mo had a great run there. They're playing with reckless abandon still. They got up 54, 55 threes last night and made 22 of them, I think, give or take. And they're playing with great pace and terrific team, well coached team. So we'll have our hands full, but we can't wait to get there, get started.
The thing Coach Brooks brought up last year with players returning to their old school for the first time, a lot of emotions, obviously a lot of relationships. How do you guys kind of handle that? And have you noticed anything different with Mo this week?
I think it's kind of par for the course now. It's just a ever present in college basketball. So I think it's just a part of the framework that we work in. I don't think it'll have a huge impact.
Kind of a bigger picture question. What did you learn the most from your team in the non-conference that you're going to take into SEC play?
Man, we've learned a lot. Is we're trying to evolve into the team that I think we're gonna is gonna get us to the highest ceiling. I think our guys are pretty resilient. I think that they learned a lot. I think they learned about a lot about themselves. Think they learned a lot about who we want to be. I think they learned about how to get there, and so we're excited. I think we couldn't be more excited to start conference play. This is it's been a long time coming. The guys have put a lot of work in, and we're excited to get going.
Is there anything specific that you worked on during the last 2 days?
Yeah, so we're working on a ton on just different spacing on the floor. Like that's been a huge deal for us, and different ways to earn space and different ways to approach the game on the offensive end. And then our communication is just massively key on the defensive end. It's going to be all conference long, maybe in no case more important than at Alabama. Um, they have a little bit of an Indiana vibe in terms of they're in the top 1 percentile in usage of ball screen actions, and they're in the top 4% or 3% in terms of effectiveness using them. They're bringing 2 and 3 players together all the time around the ball and putting you in all kinds of gray areas, whether it's peels or flip peels or screens or push screens or any assortment of different things. To try and get you in a gray area where you can't guard elite level players. And so on the defense end, our communication has been massively important. We've made huge progress. I'm really proud of the guys, made great progress through the non-conference. It's going to be tested in a huge way on Saturday.
I think that second half of the St. John's game was the healthiest this team, or at least you got all your guys on the floor. How important was it to see that period of time before conference play with everybody there?
Well, you usually would like to do it before the end of December, but it was I thought it was awesome, and he gave us just a tiny glimpse at I think what we could be, and so we're going to try and capitalize on it.
Following up on the injuries with Jalen Lowe and JQ, how have they been doing in practice this week, and are they making strides to get back in action for full this week?
They're doing incredible. We just had 3 practices in 36 hours, and JQ was in every single moment of the live play. Went full yesterday. J Lo was in all the things we wanted him to be in, and then he was doing some extra conditioning on the side. Both those guys are doing great.
Talk about learning about the team and learning about yourselves. Was there a particular game or maybe a moment that helped you form that decision to maybe look at a different approach?
Yeah, I think is we're just so you take all of them into account. I think we learned a lot from setbacks and successes. So, I'll get as specific as I can with you. I think we walked out of Michigan State with some really serious lessons about what we were trying to earn for ourselves on the offensive end. And I think that's been something that we've reflected on a lot and has maybe been a defining feature for us. And also our, kind of our on the catch focus early in games with every single college basketball player was really important from there. I think that was kind of a beginning of us getting into a space where we could really grow that way. I think the Nashville debacle was something that kind of touched us deep to our soul and kind of tested the resolve of this group and made us kind of redefine who we were going to be as human beings and as a team. So I think there's great takeaways from that. I think Indiana and St. John's both with second halves that were elite level basketball in both cases, I think confirmed some of the work that the guys had been doing and some of the direction we were going. And I think that, the way our guys are comfortable approaching the game on offense and defense has been an evolving piece that we're learning about more every day.
You announced the Denim jerseys a few days ago. What went into the process of getting those approved, and then was there any particular reason why you chose the Tennessee game to debut them as well this season?
Well, I was trying to push it earlier in the season, but you would be surprised at how complicated it is to roll something out like this. There are like 1,000 different pieces. Huge kudos to Mark Evans and the whole crew at Nike for getting this to come to pass. We've been working on it for a year and a half, trying to see if we can get it across the finish line. I think it'll be a really special time to honor that group and honor the rich tradition of Kentucky basketball. I think it'll be fun. So we just found a great game in conference, which is not hard to do because they're all great. So it'll be fun. Good timing.
Mark, obviously the Jalen injury is something you guys are probably going to have to kind of monitor all season long. How do you approach the conference season with him and his playing minutes and everything like that?
Smart, fearless and smart. I heard this great quote that I love so much. Fear is a liar. I'm actually totally into this right now. Fear is a liar. And so we're going to do it fearless and smart. And that's the way he's approaching it. And so we're really calculated with everything that we have him do. And it's very much directed, and he is working on all different ways to compensate, to give himself the best chance to be as healthy as he can, and so we're going to do it smart and fearless.
Kind of teased on the show last night, but they take a look at the four with JQ.
Yeah, so JQ he played 4 all day yesterday, which is, I don't know that that's necessarily where he's going to land, but he's certainly capable, and it gives us a different look. It's pretty exciting.
What about the SEC teams in the SEC? Who's been surprising to you?
Well, the league is great, man. It's a good league. I think there's been a lot of teams that have been kind of finding themselves. I think Auburn's going to be really good, and they're finding themselves with a new coaching situation pretty early into the season. I think Florida's going to be really good. Their front line is incredible, and they're playing better and better. Alabama clearly is a great team. I mean, you go down the list. It's just it's a fun league. It's ridiculously competitive. The metrics are again through the roof. Not quite as much as last year, but still an elite level. It's a great league.
Talk about your game this week against Alabama. LeBaron Philon, he's been the leading scorer in the conference through non-conference play. What's it going to take for you all to contain him on Saturday?
Well, he's really hard to contain. He's so great off the bounce. And I'll tell you the thing that I don't think he gets enough credit for, maybe he does, but he is an elite level playmaker off the bounce, man. A passer, finding guys. He's got a real skill of threading the needle when he needs to, getting balls where he does. He's unbelievable at hitting the short roll and kind of push screen rolls. And he's got a unbelievable first and second and third step. He's a multiple move guy. He finishes well around the rim. He's shooting at an elite level clip. He's a big time player. He's put together a great season.
What else about Alabama poses a challenge to you all?
Well, their rim protection is elite. The first game I watched a couple of days ago was Alabama, Arizona. And Arizona's always a huge team inside, and they were dominant on the glass. But I don't know how many. I don't know the number of blocks in the game. But Alabama was just their rim protection was elite. I think they're 14 or 16 in the country right now, and that's a really impressive stat number for them. And it's been probably the most, maybe give or take, the most impactful part of their defensive attack right now has been their rim protection. It's been elite.
How would you assess your all's three-point shooting throughout the non-conference season in terms of how you're generating the looks and where they're actually coming from?
It's been subpar for us for sure up till now, but I think our ceiling is really high there. I think it's been due to a lot of things. I think one, we get slowed down and more impatient, which is a bad combination when the game gets tough sometimes for us. And that's something that we're growing out. We're learning more about. J-Lo certainly helps us with that when he can be on the court. He's naturally there. He already came in ready-made that way. The rest of our roster is just learning it. DA's learning it. He's doing a great job learning it. Colin's learning it. Jasper's learning it. Ortega's taking on more of a role of trying to be a playmaker that way. So I do think that we have space. Our bigs, I think, are going to be increasingly more dagger guys. And so I think we'll get better at it. But I would say it's certainly been below the expectation that we have with the way we play the game.
Do you have New Year's resolutions?
Man, I do. I have a lot of them, but it's not New Year's yet, so I can't share them.
Is JQ letting them fly from three in practice? Is that something he has the green light for too?
Well, everybody's going to shoot it, and JQ can actually shoot it a little bit. He's got so many different facets of the game that are dangerous. It's going to be fun. And I'm telling you, I think he's done things on the court in the last couple of weeks that he has never done before. He's only 18. Is what you'd expect of a guy that age, right? And so he's going to grow and develop before our eyes, and I actually wouldn't put a limit on what he's going to be able to accomplish this season.
Going back to last year in the ACC with first-time coaching, is there anything in particular that you can take away from that first year going into the second year?
Well, I think just the experience of, kind of learning the venues. I have a much better sense of kind of style of play, kind of the go-tos for each program. Usually the guys have a DNA that's somewhere in there. Everybody's evolving all the time, but there's usually a DNA. So I think the familiarity is certainly going to be something that'll be helpful for us. But it's at the same time, guys are new teams more than ever now. Everybody deals with new teams, and so there's some new posturing to it. But just having that background is helpful.
Good.
What does Yelovich need to do in practice to get himself a little bit more on the floor and get a little bit more fit for the game?
Yeah, he's been working really hard. I think that there's space for him to really help us. At the four, as he gets more and more comfortable, with the pace of the game, I think there's a space for him to really help us shooting the ball. I do. I think he's a pretty good playmaker. I think there's room for him to, he has had some impact in the post offensively. Him becoming more verbal and communicative on defense is going to be really important for him, because so much of where the game is going now is taxing you to make decisive communication happen in real time on the court. And so that's a space where he's growing. But he's a good player, and there's definitely room for him to help us.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.